There we go. Greetings to each and every single one of my kinfolk. It just so happens to be IBM Woody Woo here with another fucking interview. We got Chaney Crabb from Entheos. We're going to be toking up and talking about a little bit of this, a little bit of that. How you been, Chaney?
I've been great, man. You know, just doing the quarantine thing, making some music, making some art, and chilling out hard. And of course, working, making money, which
There we
is
go. We have
which is
to.
how I get to do all the other stuff. So
Hell yeah. And that's been something that I really think has been dope. The fucking KoperCrabb Podcast. Everybody fucking check that shit out. You guys have completely kind of like torn back the veil a little bit and really shown like, yo, this is what we actually do. Let's be honest. We're not trying to fucking front as we're just able to fully sustain ourselves in fucking California off of progressive death metal.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
hope you know you guys keep on fucking building up towards like where that could be a possibility, but it's just awesome that you guys are just upfront with it and real about what it actually takes to be on this path. And I fucking love the podcast. That shit's dope as fuck.
Well, thank you. It has been a really fun thing to do. We haven't been doing it for the past like month or two. We've been taking a bit of a break, but you know, that's what Naveen and I are all about. We don't really bullshit. There are no smoke and mirrors with us, really. And I don't think that it's good for young people who are potentially trying to pursue this path to have all of these preconceived notions about what you can and can't do within playing this really obscure type of music. Because one thing that I see happen is that either people think that it's all or nothing, like you have to be a musician or you have to work a corporate job. It's just super black and white like that, or you know, they think that you're never going to be able to sustainably be a death metal musician for your entire life. And I think it's definitely a possibility to do all of that stuff and do it all at once. You know, the money's got to come from somewhere. And the reality is that when you play this obscure of a type of music, yeah, we do make money off of it for sure. And we've put ourselves in a position where it's like if we go on tour, we don't take tour offers that lose us money. However, we have to have jobs in order to be able to build up a band, especially, you know. So you'll find people in all of your favorite bands. I know people in huge bands who still have jobs, like normal guy jobs, but it's like there's got to be something to sustain the life when you're off of tour, because that's where we make most of our money. Although we do make money online, tour is when the merch money is really coming in, because every night you're selling shit. But you'll get paid a certain amount of money after a tour, and then you go home and you have to find a way to make money there. Especially like you said, Naveen and I live in one of the most expensive places in the country in Santa Cruz. It's the tech industry. Everyone is bought up all of the property and real estate around here, and the average cost of living, if you're looking for an apartment, you're going to spend at least $2,000 or $2,500 a month. That's the harsh reality. But on the other hand, I live half a mile away from the ocean, you know, so it's like, but yeah, there's a happy medium for all of that stuff, and that's just really what we're all about, because we love metal, and neither of us are the type of people who are going to ever give up playing metal. But we also recognize that there's like, as you grow older, you have to also be able to afford things. That's the harsh reality of the world. None of us want to live with our parents in our parents' basement for the rest of our lives. So there's a way to gracefully make the dichotomy of the two worlds come together and work as one in perfect harmony.
Yeah, exactly. Adulting doesn't have to just be completely shitty.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. You don't have to be a person living with in your mom's basement, and you don't have to be the person who's given up their dream to go work a corporate gig. I mean, for both of us, it's like we've both got jobs and put ourselves in positions where we can leave our jobs for 2 months at a time and we'll come home and still have a job. But that has taken, it takes time to do that, to manifest that stuff. It's not like, it's not easy to find things that you can do and be gone for that chunk of time. So, you know, it's just a living and learning process. But the podcast has been a cool way to like let people know what we're all about, I guess.
Hell yeah, dude! From the fucking barn to a house in Santa Cruz with
That's right.
fucking progressive death metal and some goddamn side hustles. That's how. That's a dream right there.
Yeah, I think so. It's
That's like a little that's a cool little documentary in the making or something right there. That's fucking badass.
yeah, well, Naveen and I were just talking about this morning, like when Entheos started, which we've been a band since December of 2014. And when the band first started, you know, we'd have Frank and Evan over to the barn that we used to live in behind Naveen's mom's house. And Naveen and I would just always talk about eventually having an Entheos HQ, like where we each had an office or a studio and a bedroom and like just a fucking compound to have the band hang out on. And now we've got the compound. So, you know, dreams do come true.
Hell yeah, the cult is coming. The cult of
Fuck yeah. Fuck
Entheos.
yeah. No juice in our cult. No weird.
Yeah. Kool-Aid's got a lot of like fucking red dye 40 in it and shit anyway, so even if you don't put like cyanide or whatever in it, it's probably gonna give you a nice slow death.
Oh, dude. I know. I'm all about water. I love water. It's my
Hell
favorite
yeah,
drink.
man.
I'm all about I like carbonated water. I've been getting into that lately, but really just a nice
Oh, some fucking La Croix.
I love La Croix. I was late to the La Croix game, but now I'm really like feeling it. Because I've just never been that huge of a fan of sparkling water. But yeah, it's my favorite bev.
There we go. Looking out for the health. See, I'm fucking like rocking these big ass fucking flasks, trying to like reduce my carbon footprint.
Look at that. That's true hippie mode right there. You gotta have one of those. What are those called? That kind of water bottle?
I guess you call it like a flask or a tumbler.
Yeah, it's got a name. They sell them at Whole Foods, but anyway,
Oh,
it's like
these are the hydro flasks.
okay, there you go. Yeah, you're a real fucking hippie.
And supposedly, I found out. Unfortunately, has become this obnoxious status symbol in like middle schools and shit. And the kids, yeah, and the kids will go around and go because if that's the noise you make if you say hydro flask really quickly over and over again. And I learned that because I work with fucking youth and Jesus Christ, I feel so goddamn old being around them.
Oh man, I bet. Yeah, because kids are always just like inundating people with all this weird school shit. Like Tamagotchi was the thing when I was a kid. That's me aging myself. But you know, and the
Neopets,
gel
baby.
pen. I remember giving myself huge sleeves of gel pen tattoos that kind of look exactly like both of like your background. And that was just all the rage when I was a kid. But any adult looking at that is just like, fuck man. And nowadays it's TikTok. I can't really deal with this whole TikTok phenomenon.
Oh my god, I took my nephew somewhere and we were in a car for 2 hours. And for 2 hours straight, he was watching TikTok videos. And it's like little snippets. They're like little tiny videos. And I had to tell him eventually, like, turn that shit off. Like, it's driving me mad. How can you do this?
It's the worst. Every so often, I'll see like a cool, funny TikTok video shared, but most of the time that shit is just people who cannot dance or lip sync lyrics trying to do both at the same time, and it's a bunch of failed jokes, and I hate it.
Dude, me and my partner, we both be getting some of that shit in our feeds, and we'll be like, "What the fuck? This is like a teenager, like with no clothes on, like fucking dancing around all sexy and shit. Like I feel so goddamn creepy that's just popping up on my shit."
I know, I know. Uh, what's the worst part of it though? I think is like the older people who get into it. Like there are people way above my age who are making just from high that I'll see that I went to high school with, just making fucking awful videos. Awful.
Hey,
I'm really glad that this type of shit didn't exist when I was a kid and even really into my lower to mid 20s. Like I kind of missed the window to truly embarrass myself on the internet, I think. But
yeah, and let's be honest, like the way that we interact with them on like a serotonin based level and shit, and how they're giving us all these like feedback loops and stuff where we're just getting addicted to stuff. It's
oh yeah,
psychologically, I feel like it is fucking us over.
I do too. I was talking to a friend of mine and he works with kids like early child care education, and he said that he's got two kids of his own and he won't let his kids watch TV or look at computer screens. They never have. And he said that just the difference, especially now, because his kids are having to get on Zoom calls, like with the quarantine, that's what they would do to go to school. And he was just like, I can tell a major difference from them before they go into the Zoom call when they haven't watched TV in a while, and them after the Zoom call. It's just like it's an addiction beginning. It's
Yeah, I mean, little kids are just like taking fucking so. We sound so goddamn old right now.
we do, but
These crazy kids, but seriously, it's
I know.
because I mean, when you grow up like in the fucking '90s and you're just like a little kid playing outside and shit with toys, and then you get to see the transition from like video games being like kind of pixely and shitty to being like holy shit this looks better than real life to now we have our fucking like little heroin devices with us
Right.
all the time. It's like I mean I could see how it's fucking up me in certain ways. So just growing up with that, it's like
I
holy shit.
know.
At least I have some recognition of how things used to be.
Totally. Well, and one of the things that I think, I mean, it's already shown that is truly detrimental is the whole social media, being materialistic about the likes and the comments and just looking at other people and having this sense of jealousy or greed toward the amount of followers or things like that. You know, the amount of people who are on their pictures and shit. I think that's really scary for people growing up because it makes all of the shallow qualities of people seem like qualities that we want to acquire rather than the intelligent qualities. You know, we're basing all of this stuff on pictures, and I just think I know how much social media has made me feel strange, and I even see people I know who are going after this, like, what do they call them, influencer type thing. I know some people who are like that, and even in them I'll notice that they're kind of different people off of the internet than they are on the internet. So I think of this, there's this movie called Surrogates with Bruce Willis. Do you remember that movie?
I totally remember that movie.
Okay. So, spoiler alert, but at the end of the movie, you know, everyone is basically they're living through these surrogates where all of the real people are in their houses in this virtual reality headset in this like really cozy recliner while they're living vicariously through avatars, the surrogates. And I see tendencies like that already happening in the world, with people living through like their influencer personality that they are on the internet, as opposed to who they are in real life. And that just, I'm interested, but at the same time a little scared to see where that all goes.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I mean, to a certain extent, like, it makes sense that you have to put on like certain masks to play certain roles in society, but when it's like this thing that you're putting all of your effort and all of your self-worth into, that's a mask. I don't know. That don't seem bueno at all. But what has been bueno is fucking weed. I've been smoking a decent amount of weed during the
Me
quarantine
too,
for
man.
damn
I've
sure.
currently got a lot of weed in front of me. Had to bring
Yeah,
it
no,
for the show, right?
hell yeah. So yeah, that's definitely something I. So at first, beginning of quarantine, I was smoking way too much weed. Just being honest, buying way too much weed, and I was like, okay, we got to switch this up a little bit. So now, growing my own weed, haven't
Beautiful.
haven't yielded anything yet, but we're getting there. And I've gotten to a point where it's like I'm only smoking weed in social scenarios or directly after a workout because I get really blasted off of very little. So I'm just trying to, get more bang for my goddamn buck.
Hey man, good on you. And you look really high right now. So you
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of,
I'll
I
get
should
there.
spark up. I brought a joint, so I'm gonna light
Let's
up.
do it.
Yeah, I've been smoking quite a bit too, but you know, I'm kind of the opposite of you, where now it's like I'm eating an edible almost every day. I smoke weed all day long. I have for a long time. That hasn't changed much, but edibles I wasn't hugely into until the quarantine. And I started taking just like smaller doses at a time. Because, California, everything's more regulated here in the last 2 years since we fully legalized, went recreational. Um, so I find it a little easier to like monitor what I'm taking, and I really like it.
Yeah, just those little kind of like, kind of microdosing yourself a little bit. And
Yeah,
it takes away that just the absolute kind of terror of just like, I have no idea how much was in that.
yeah,
Let's see what the fuck happens.
I know. And when I do that, it always leads me down the road of fucking severe panic attack, like way too much. I'm having a panic attack for sure, and potentially blacking out, because that happens to me if I eat too much weed.
I hilarious story. I had pretty much like the last fucking metal concert I was able to go to before all of quarantine. No, not the last one. But there's a couple before this one, after this one that I went to. But I went to go see fucking Slipknot,
Oh
and
shit!
I
Iowa
went with my
represent.
homie. I went with my homie. He fucking we drank some fucking tall cans, and we're smoking some blunts. And he also snuck in some fucking liquor. I have no idea what it was. I felt like I was a goddamn high schooler though. Shit was hilarious. But for the first time in my life, I got blackout drunk
This is
at a
the first
Slipknot
time.
concert. Yeah, it was my
The,
first time.
how old are you? You're like 27.
28.
Okay, you're getting older. I've known you for a few years now.
Yep.
Wow, 28, and you've only just gotten blackout drunk for the first time. That's crazy.
Well, I grew up with a brother that had some issues, so I was like, okay, let me not do
That'll
that.
do that. That'll do that.
But yeah, it was pretty hilarious. But the main thing that I think made me fucking black out was fucking smoking that blunt. I was smoking a lot of blunts, and
That'll do it to you, man. The people who don't smoke are always like, I can't smoke and drink. That'll like I'll get a twister or whatever they call it. Like, that's gonna twist me. And I never believed it until I didn't smoke when I drank one time, and I was like, wow, I don't feel nearly as drunk as I normally feel, it must be because I haven't smoked also.
Hell yeah. Crossfaded, baby. That's the way to go if you really want to
Crossfaded.
party.
Yeah, I haven't drank this entire quarantine. I think I maybe had one drink, but I'm not a huge like at home drinker. I do it if I go to a show, I'll have some drinks, but yeah, I've just been enjoying the weed this whole time pretty much. What are you
Yeah.
smoking right
Right now, I'm smoking on some type of hybrid. I don't remember exactly what it was because I put it inside of a case that it didn't go in initially. So
now?
I don't know, but it fucking tastes good.
But hell yeah, I'm smoking a sour alien. It's an indica. It's bomb. It
Hell
tastes
yeah.
really good. Tastes really super good.
So do you think with as much crazy shit that's going down, we're just gonna have some aliens come and start chilling with us, or what's up?
I've kind of been hoping that's where it's gonna go. I really want aliens to come to Earth if they're not here already, because I just want to know, like, are they gonna be evil or are they gonna be good? Like, let's clear the fucking air here because we don't. There's so many movies that show them as being the evil creatures who are gonna come and infiltrate Earth and kill all of us. I don't really think it's gonna be like that, but I want to know.
I think it's totally got to be something much more benign, and
Yeah.
and yeah, they've probably already been chilling. And why the fuck would an alien even manifest itself in like a physical form that we'd be able to even see, unless it's specifically trying to interact with us? I feel like for the
Well,
most part, they're probably just kind of like hanging out, doing them, and just being like, "Yo, these crazy fucking weird primate things are just wilding."
yeah. I also like have to wonder if we've been having interactions with aliens since the dawn of time. I mean, you have to wonder where spirituality and the idea of God and all of these things come from. Could it potentially be from aliens? I think it's a definite possibility.
Well, fun fact, my so the tribe I'm from, we're called the Serrano, and in our creation story, we actually talk about coming from another fucking planet because
Really?
basically that planet had become overgrown with souls, so to say, and our creator was just like, "Yo, y'all want to fucking go to this other planet? If you have faith in me and you believe in me and pray to me, we're gonna go do that." So that's where we believe like the seeds of life on Earth came from.
Oh
And
wow.
I mean, if you and then the planet that we talk about coming from is called Mara. Mara,
Okay.
Mars, have fucking water there. Who the fuck knows? I don't know.
Wow, that's fascinating. What's the name of the god?
The god is named Kirkdok.
Kirk. How do you spell that?
It's like Queer, and then we have RC. The way that you pronounce it, you pretty much like put your tongue up to the roof of your mouth and kind of just make like a sound. Pretty
Huh.
weird, but it's named Kirkdok.
Wow. So, and what's the name of the religious text?
So the we don't have like specifically a religious text that we
Okay.
read. It's pretty much just all like oral tradition and stuff. But
Wow.
where I've read most of this is this book that was written by pretty much like the last like truly fluent speaker of the language. Her name was Dorothy Ramon, and she has this book called Always Believe that pretty much she was like in her fucking 90s and she was like, "Look, I'm just going to unload my brain and like tell you all the stories I know." Unfortunately, a lot of shit got lost, but it's it's still like a good place to kind of come from. And honestly, a lot of our traditions aren't really in action too much these days, but with all the fucking like crazy doomsday shit that's been going on, I've definitely been like, we should probably bring some of that back.
All right, guys, it's time. Round up the troops. Let's get
Exactly.
to the planet Mara. So do you like subscribe, or are you just somewhat? Do you subscribe to the religion, or are you just like philosophical passenger?
I feel like right now I'd have to say that I'm more of a philosophical passenger because so many of the rituals and stuff that it takes to like actually be about it, I don't do that. But
Yeah.
I'd like to build up to that point, and I've
Mhm.
seen how certain ritualistic activities have definitely been helpful. Like I got a homie, he runs a fucking mushroom church, and he's from the Lucenio people, and he actually went and found a rock that's like on his reservation's land that looks like it's some sort of art that's depicting like a mushroom ceremony. So
Wow.
it's very likely that his people have been doing that for like thousands and thousands of years. So he kind of
Absolutely.
picked it back up again. And I'd totally say like doing mushrooms in a ritualistic, like ceremonial setting like that. Oh my God, it makes the whole experience entirely different, entirely,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
way more like rooted to the earth and you in those ceremonies legitimately you can like feel spirits and shit and it's intense, it's
Yeah.
intense, but I'd say it's been way more spiritually beneficial in a way that feels like understood somewhat, if that
Yeah.
makes sense, as opposed to when I was just like doing mushrooms and like going and chilling in parks and stuff.
Yeah. I like when I take mushrooms or LSD, which I'm a huge fan of both of those things. I like to do it by myself, and I like to just be in my house. I used to think that it was better in nature, but I've noticed that wherever I start tripping, I'd rather stay there than like go somewhere else. So if I start in nature, I really enjoy doing it in nature, and if I start in my house, I really enjoy staying there. But I just like doing it myself as a reset. I don't like using those things as a party drug. So I would imagine that what you're talking about is the ultimate reset uh, and earthly connection, and just you already get that feeling when you're on either of those drugs that the whole world is connected. You're connected to everyone, and everyone is just sort of a skewed version of you. So I would imagine that doing it in a ritualistic way, the way that you're describing, would be the ultimate religious, spiritual form of taking those drugs. I would really
Yeah,
like
for
to do
sure.
that at that type of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty grounding way of doing it. Like that's the main thing that I feel. It really does feel like it connects you specifically to that physical spot where you're at in a way where you're gonna always feel that connection no matter if you're in that realm or not. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely something where I think that recognizing like the indigenous peoples of any land that you're from is something that can really kind of like help as far as spiritually with how your intention kind of settles in because it's almost like when you give recognition to that ancestry, those ancestors are like, "Oh, sweet, dope, you down with us? Like, we cool with you." and
Totally.
it,
Totally.
it doesn't matter really where you're at, but you can even do it in some type of. I don't think you need to have like some sort of entheogen or anything like that to really make your intentions like known. I feel like once you kind of integrate that in a way, that's something that's always a part of you, and that's definitely something that I've really felt has been beneficial for me with psychedelics is
Mhm.
really focusing on integrating that shit because it's pretty awesome when you're just like, okay, I could fucking just meditate and feel close to whatever the source is, whatever you call that, and
Absolutely.
I
You know,
feel
it's
like that's definitely been some shit I've been doing a lot during quarantine, like trying to kind of settle into that. because who the fuck knows what's gonna happen. So
Absolutely. I totally agree with what you're saying. And I think that the more that I do psychedelics, the first of all, the easier it is for me to manipulate my trip and do it like purposefully. However, I'll notice that a few days after, it's not right after and it's not the next day, but a few days after I feel like I've recovered, that's when I feel the things starting to almost naturally integrate themselves into my life. Like the feeling of having everything lift, it's just like a cathartic feeling, and then a feeling one with everything. It happens a few days after my trips. Like I just did acid probably a week and a half ago, and I noticed that I did it on a Monday, and that Wednesday I started to feel just really light and a lot more understanding. And yeah, psychedelics are greatly beneficial for those type of things, and I really think that they would be helpful for someone who is maybe depressed or has a trauma they can't let go of. And obviously this isn't my idea, this is something that's being studied, but I really think that they can help people with those kind of life traumas. Just go through the feeling of catharsis, let it go, and then maybe slowly be able to move on and focus on their life again.
yeah, it's definitely one of those things that's really a solid tool. And I think one other thing that I've been trying to do is meditation.
Yeah.
With that's a really big tool right there. And I started meditating before I ever did any sort of psychedelics, but I did it in a way where it was kind of like, oh, I know like badass martial arts do this, so I'm gonna do this. But I was kind of just like sitting there. I
Yeah.
wasn't really like
Right.
having some sort of
Totally.
intention. I was just like, okay, I can kind of make myself not think, and I feel a little bit more peaceful after that, but there wasn't really much intention in it.
Right.
Now that I've been using meditation and I've been through psychedelics, there's a little bit more of an intention and a way of kind of like guiding the experience in a way. And also like doing guided meditations and shit that I get online. Those are pretty dope as well. Those have helped. But it really has gotten to a point where that feels like if I do that shit every day, I could start really getting some shit done. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. I Naveen has been getting really into meditating and things lately, and one of the things he there's a mantra that he says, and it's a like Krishna mantra, and he just told me the mantra, and that's something that I've been saying a lot lately. And even doing that, like having a mantra and going back to it, it will ease anxiety in me. And it's insane. Like, so Naveen's parents were devotees back in the 70s, and like they were fully involved in the Krishna movement. And his mom was talking about someone saying the Krishna mantra. She was on a plane with him, and she said they were going through the most extreme turbulence ever, and she turned around and this guy was he was just saying the mantra over and over and over again, and she said that that made her feel peaceful, just because if you have that just thing that you can go to in your mind and focus on, it will take your mind off of everything else and all of the anxieties of life, even if when nothing else can, even if you're going through like a total panic. I think that, you know, having those the ability to go in and focus on one thing or to have that meditation is really important and can be useful. I want to get more into meditating as well, because it just seems very important. It's a like 45-minute period in the day where you can be silent and very introspective, and I think that introspection is incredibly important in this world. A lot of people don't do it ever, and some people do it too much. But you know, it's just one of those daily rituals that seems like it would help. Before this whole quarantine thing, for years, I've been going to the sauna every day, just being in the sauna for 45 minutes, and being under that kind of extreme condition, it's almost impossible to think about anything else other than, oh my God, I'm in this sauna, I'm hot as fuck, you know. So it's a meditation, not as purposeful as it should and can be, but that alone to me has been extremely helpful in, like, you know, getting out the anxieties of the day. I miss the sauna so much, and that's the worst thing about quarantine, honestly, is not being able to do that every day.
Hell yeah. My buddy that has the mushroom ceremonies, he also runs sweat lodges.
Mhm.
And sweat lodges are fucking awesome because it's like the sauna, except you're in there fucking like just praying your ass off and like
Right.
just suffering with everybody else, and it's like this huge like group kind of fucking therapy session like that also just has you like sweating, so you're getting all the benefits of that like stressor on your body, and then it's really awesome. And you go in there for like four different rounds, and people will like sing different prayer songs, or they'll just like talk about what they got going on, and it's some fucking heavy stuff. And yeah, I started off doing the sauna, and yeah, you really can't think of anything else. You're just like, this is hot as fuck. Like,
I know. It's
fuck,
like
I'm pass out. Let me just try not to pass out.
after 10 minutes, it's like, oh man, all right, I'm in here. And if you have no one else in there to talk to, then it's super hard to get through. But I've heard of about sweat lodges, that's what you're calling it, right? Um,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to try that because I heard about it years ago, but then I saw a documentary like a year ago about a sweat lodge gone wrong. I don't know if you've seen this, but it
Oh
was on
yeah.
Netflix, and I think they were being led, it was some kind of like religious thing, and they were being led by this guy or a woman, I can't remember, who was almost telling them not to get out. Like it would be anti spiritual for them to get out. So they would stay in the sweat lodge. And I think that two people ended up dying because of
Yeah, and the dude also had like plastic tarps on there which don't breathe at all. So it's
it.
just like
Okay. You
I'm
know all about this.
retarded.
Okay.
But it definitely was one of those things where my conspiracy theory mind was like, ooh, they're putting this out there as anti-sweat propaganda,
It seemed like it.
the spiritual movement.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've definitely like felt close to dying in a sweat, but never like legitimately gotten close to it.
Yeah. Well, but you can take water bottles in the sweat lodge, right?
Oh, exactly. And
Yeah.
and then there's the breaks afterwards, and you can always just say, "Let me get the door. I'm
Yeah.
done. I
Yeah.
can't hang." And
No
it's one
one's
of
gonna be
those things
like,
where it's
God won't love you anymore if you get out of this
no,
sweat
it's
lodge.
it's actually encouraged because it promotes like some good ass humility. Like we could all use that. It's don't push yourself past, especially like, yo, we're gonna probably be responsible. Like we're the ones who invited you. What
Yeah,
the fuck?
I know. Humility is a great thing, and you're right. Like when you experience a total extreme of something, like when you're in a sweat lodge, I'm sure is way crazier than a sauna. But you know, when you're just to an extreme and your body's going through all of these things to a point that you almost don't even care about anything in the world. Like if you have food poisoning and you're barfing everywhere, normally that's just something that you would try to hide from people. But when you have food poisoning, you don't give a fuck. It's all going in front of everyone. And yeah, the experiencing humility in those moments is, I think, truly important.
Oh yeah. I also fucking used, and I don't know if there's a some sort of like Hare Krishna temple around you guys, but when I was living in San Diego previously, they had a Hare Krishna lounge, and I just went there because they were handing out flyers at the fucking college I was going to, and so
Hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, let me go check it out, and there's definitely some some kind of weird folk that are there, but it was
Yeah.
pretty rad. It was pretty rad because they pretty much just chant that Hare Krishna mantra and do it for a while playing some like pretty groovy ass jams. It's
Yeah.
pretty much just kind of like a little Hare Krishna party. And then afterwards, they serve you like this sick ass vegetarian food that
Yeah.
they make from shit that they grow on their own farm.
That
So
is
I
awesome.
was like, yo, I could fucks with this.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's been like some incidents where like some Hare Krishnas have like killed other Hare Krishnas and stuff because you know we're humans, so
Yeah.
should
You
be
know,
getting wild. But
I know. I Naveen's parents are it's very fascinating to talk to them about that because they gave up literally, we're talking 10 years of their lives. You give up all material possessions. So it's really interesting to talk about those things with them. And their experiences are of course not of the like people killing each other, but what they always say is that aside from Prabhupada, who was the guy they were under, that everyone was like 27 and under. So you have to, at least when they were in it. So you have to imagine that when you're dealing with people who are under 30, everyone in the temple, all of the people in charge are under 30. The
just a bunch of
yeah,
horny retards.
yeah, it's like it's amazing that it was as well put together as it was. But it's super fascinating to talk to them about it. I mean, yeah, it from what they say, it sounds like a lot of fun. They would wake up at like 4:30 in the morning and dance and say mantras and eat bomb vegetarian food, and just they were living with for a purpose, and they were living for just completely devoted to that purpose. And I can't even imagine doing that. Just stripping my life of everything else except for this one thing. It's super fascinating to me. So,
I mean, it seems like you kind of do that in some way, shape, or form with just being an artist. Like,
yeah,
I mean, being a fucking harsh vocalist is it's not like you just dip your toes in it.
yeah, you're right. And being on tour for a month at a time, once you're like a little while into that, you do feel like you're living for one purpose, and it's hard to even really do anything else. So I kind of understand, but I don't know, man. That's just extreme dedication.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't I wasn't down to fully be into it, but it was cool to go
You're like,
chill with them.
I could come here for a meal.
Yeah, I go for their like
Well,
little Sunday feast they'd have. Like they
yeah,
definitely know how to party, but
that's what I was gonna say. Word on the street, Naveen always says that they have this big feast on Sundays, and he wants to take me to one. So
oh my god, you
I'm
have
gonna
to
go
go.
experience that. Yeah.
Holy shit! Just take yourself a little microdose of some fucking edibles, and you got to get up and dance too when they're dancing.
Oh, of
You
course.
can't not do that.
Yeah, that's got
That
a name.
shit's
Kurt
I can,
Kirtan. It's
kirtan,
called
yeah,
Kirtan.
kirtan.
Yeah, yeah. The fascinating thing about that whole movement is no drugs.
Yeah,
They were not doing drugs.
doing nothing. I mean,
No.
when because I've totally I've been there on edibles before when I'm doing the kirtan, but I've also been there on nothing, and
Me too. Yeah,
similar effect both ways.
it's
So
true. It's harder to manifest when there's nothing, but that just goes to show you how devotional a person can be.
yeah, no, I definitely I do the Hare Krishna mantra from time to time. I've moved on to trying to like pray in my own actual native language from learning from books and stuff. And when I was younger, I actually took some language classes, but I honestly lost a lot of that. But I really do feel like mantras and kind of just intentions and meditative processes and just like being in situations where you're devoting yourself to some shit, like
Mhm.
that's that's probably why we're here for the most part,
I think so.
honestly.
I think so. To at least explore a greater purpose, I think. I always get bummed out even when I catch myself like focusing, just harping in on a small, minuscule part of my reality. Like, oh my God, this is like this, just something that I totally can't change or have anything to do with. And I have to stop myself and remind myself, this isn't why I exist. This isn't why I'm here to care about, like, I don't know, just looking at my band's t-shirts next to me. I'm not here to care about like what our fucking t-shirt does, what's wrong with a t-shirt design that we printed 5 years ago. It's about something a lot greater than that. And I think that that's definitely why we're here, not for all of these little stupid details.
Yeah. I was actually hearing a pretty cool kind of take on what depression is in a certain way, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty wise. And it was depression comes in when the story you tell yourself and the games that you play don't match up. So I think a lot of times, like we kind of have an honest story in ourselves where it's like, I'm this extension of this higher power, and it's pretty fucking dope. But we
Yeah.
all were trying to be like, okay, let me make sure I'm getting like followers and stuff, or make sure that the neighbors
Yeah,
think that I got my shit together, or whatever it is. And when we're doing things like that, it directly contradicts that inner knowledge where we're like, yo, um, I'm pretty fucking rad. I'm an extension of creation itself. So
absolutely. And that's something Naveen and I have been talking about doing a podcast on something we refer to as musical materialism for a while, just because when you play music or really when you're involved in any pursuit, you can look at people who you perceive as gaining more traction than you, getting the things that you think you want, um, being able to do this or like signing to this label. You can view all of that and get really, really bummed out about it. You can watch people just zip by you and they're getting a bunch of likes, their songs getting a bunch of YouTube plays in the first day. It's really easy to get caught up in all of that stuff, especially once you start dealing with the business side of it. Because honestly, a lot of what the business people talk about are, well, how many monthly listeners do you have on Spotify? And all of those kind of things. So it's easy to lose yourself in all of that stuff. But none of that stuff really matters. That's the materialism part about it. You kind of have to zoom out, look at the big picture. 10, 20 years from now, are my Spotify plays really going to matter? Is the tour offer that I didn't get really going to matter? No. The things that matter are how you conduct your life, the type of person that you are, the way that you treat the people around you and your community. The internet and all of these numbers and plays and everything can seem like a really big deal if you choose to focus on that. It's really important when you're an artist or really when you're just pursuing anything to accept that this is your reality. You're in your own lane. There's a story for you and there's also a story for someone else. And it's hard sometimes to not get caught up in the feeling that someone else's success means that I suck or any of that stuff. But it's what life is really about is overcoming all of that and accepting the ride, accepting that you're your own unique individual and that there is a world outside of all of these plays and None of those things equal up to anything. I can't the idea of happiness, a lot of people treat it like it's this thing that we should be chasing. Like, okay, well, if I in musical materialism, it's if I have 1 million plays in one day on my new song, then I'm gonna be happy, man. Because then I'm successful and then everyone loves me. And the reality is that you cross the barrier, you get to the point, okay, you're getting 1 million plays in a day. Everyone loves you. What does that really mean for you on a personal level? Who are you actually when you aren't on a stage, when no one in a room knows who you are, and you're just you're you? That's what really matters. That's what you're gonna die with. That's how people are gonna remember you. So while it's easy to get caught up in these little facets, like I was saying a little bit ago, these little weird details of life and the world that you're surrounded by in your profession, none of those things matter. And it's really uh we're it's just all about something else. And like the musical materialism, or just the materialism of it in general, those aren't really things that we should be focusing on, because we should be focusing on things like loving each other and understanding how we can make our communities work better together. Because look at our world right now. I think that one thing that all of us could greatly benefit from is just loving each other and treating each other like they are an extended version of ourselves, because that's really all that people are at the end of the day. And I think it's really important to like operate on a family, community, friend group type level, and just extend yourself out to the people around you and show love in the group. And that just builds love, because then everyone who you're showing all of that love to, they're impacted by that. Anytime that someone does something that's like them showing love to me in whatever way, it really affects me. And it makes me want to go and treat someone else better. And I think that that is really powerful. That those type of like personal interactions, they're far more powerful than any fucking Spotify play, any like the or comment you can get on the internet. It's all about like the real human connection and how we can make each other feel, and what kind of a mark we can actually leave on the people around us. So yeah, it's hard not to get caught up in the weird shit. But even in this quarantine more than ever, I like am realizing how how important it is to not care about that stuff. Because look at all of us now, man. We're a bunch of musicians who aren't playing any shows. We're sitting at home with our significant other who, did we just cheat on our significant other for the past 5 years with people on the road? Or like what, what type of shit have we been doing? Who are you behind the mask of the stage and the all that shit? That is what really matters. And quarantine, we've all had to live with ourselves. So
Definitely. I feel like that's been why a lot of different people have been getting called out and shit lately for being kind of scummy, because we've all kind of like had to sit and be like, okay, what's going on? Like, and if you haven't been paying it forward, fucking Haley Joel Osment all up in this bitch, and you just been out there just being
throwback.
trash. Like, yeah, no, karma's a thing.
I
And
really believe in it. I mean, people want to talk shit about the idea of the law of attraction, or you receive what you put out into the universe. But I think that there is definitely some truth to that. There's got to be, because you see it with people. You see people who sit and talk about negative shit all the time. Life just keeps on getting negative for them. The only time it ever changes is if you flip your mindset around. So the idea of karma, or the idea of the law of attraction, I think that they're important to keep in mind, even if you don't necessarily believe in that type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like you were saying, we have to live with a communal mindset and really just get this shit fucking sorted out, because this whole like hating you for this reason or that reason stuff is just, it's so retarded, and it's fucking crazy that we have to kind of engage in a revolution in a way to kind of like get people to just recognize some pretty basic shit. But
I know.
it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. I feel like there's a lot of good coming out of all of this, and I really think that you know, thankfully things haven't gotten too bad.
No, I think it's giving everyone a chance to grow, really, and just learn things about people. And, maybe if you get on the internet, depending on the type of people you have added on your friends list, maybe you see a bunch of fighting and you think that, like, everyone's extreme and it's crazy out there. But if you actually get into a discussion with someone who you may see eye to eye with on a few things, and you may have a couple of other opinions that aren't like right eye to eye, you can pretty much get on the same page if you just have an actual discussion with people. I mean, on the internet, there's a lot of nuance of conversation lost in Facebook posts and comments and talking to each other there, that when you get in real life with someone, you're much more able to empathize with the person that you're talking to, and kind of get yourself on their level. And a way to see each other's point of view isn't to go in with some with no want to see the other person's opinion. You have to be open-minded. You can't be closed off to whatever they're going to say. But I think that, if more people could approach things in the way that, all right, this is all a discussion. We don't have to hate people over things that they say. There is a place where we can understand where each other are coming from. And I think that's a lot more important than just like blocking someone on the internet, or like shooing them out of your life because of one status that they made that is crappy. Because people say shitty things. People are human, man. We've all said something. But I also think that people are really open to understanding, and that their opinions can be changed. But you have to get on the level and be able to see where each other are coming from before you can really make a change in each other at all.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like you say, it's that actual human connection where you're face to face talking to somebody, where a lot of that nuance can be held, a lot of that intention coming from somebody can actually be absorbed and understood much more, because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're all just the same fucking person, just living out some different type of extension of that bit of creation that we're all a part of. So
Yeah.
I don't think
And
it's that hard for us to really get to a point where we're understanding that and seeing that in each other, no matter what fucking point of view you have, and all of our points of view can only be made better when we're able to connect and understand with even more. So
absolutely. Absolutely. There's a great Anthony Green lyric about that. It's a Circus Survive lyric. It's like, fuck, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's like, can't you all see that we're all just the same person, but at different times? God, I can't remember the rest of it. It's a great lyric. Anthony Green's a great lyricist, but
dude, he is. He's got a
yeah.
lot of kids too. I remember randomly going on his Instagram and I was just like, damn, you got a lot of kids. Whoa. It surprised me.
How many has he got? I
don't know.
Like 3.
And see, it could be just 3, and I'm completely, but I don't know. In my head, I was just like, oh,
It seems like a lot to those of us who have no kids, it's like once you see 3 or more, it's like,
It's
fuck,
like,
dude.
whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he seems like he's fucking dadding it up real rad. Like, dude, I love the latest Circus Survive album. Like, that's one thing. Like, I feel like the last Converge album and the last Circus Survive album have some songs on there where it's just like hardcore dad songs that are just like they fucking shred so hard, and I love that shit.
I know. It's funny you name those 2 bands because those are 2 bands who I've loved every iteration of the band because they've both changed quite a bit over time. I love every Circa record. There's not one I dislike, and there's not one Converge record that I dislike either. But there are more daddy tunes coming out. That's for sure.
Dude, and
but I'm here for it.
Me too. Look. I don't want my artist to be in fucking Arrested Development. Like that stuff. It's not cute. It's not cute. I've definitely had. I'm not gonna name them, but I've had some heroes where I'm just like, dude, grow the fuck up.
I know. Yeah, I always do. I wonder sometimes when people are like, or when bands come out that are like super following a trend. It's like, can't you see what you're doing right now? Like, can't you see this isn't going to be cool in like 10, 15? Some people change gracefully and they like get it, but some people just, they're trying to ride that trend out into the sunset. I'm looking at you, all the 80s hair metal guys who go to NAMM every year.
Hey. I mean, I feel like to a certain extent they get to be kind of like fucking Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Where there's that one episode where they finally find out like, oh, this is how Boomhauer gets ladies. He just tries every single one.
Yep, every single one. He goes up to them all, and almost everyone says no until he gets that hit, and that's how he's. It's really sad. That's a sad episode. I don't know if you got that feeling from the episode, but
hell yeah. It was. King of the Hill is honestly one of the most emotionally diverse cartoons I've ever seen. Like a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, are you offended by John Redcorn as a Native American?" I'm like, "Hell no. He is a fucking perfectly written Native American character."
Dude,
there's so many guys like that.
Really?
Yes.
That's the fantastic thing about the show, though, is that I think all of those characters are just really well done. And it's great seeing a dad like Hank having to deal with a son like Bobby. It's like the extreme, like, conservative dad who's struggling with the idea of his kid being like a little out there. And it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and Hank evolves over time. The first few episodes, you're just like, damn, is this dude like beating on Peggy? Like he's a maniac. And then like as the show goes on, you're just like, oh my god, Hank, you're just such a sweetie. You're such a sweetie. Like
I know
in your ways in certain ways, but you're a little sweetie. Fucking perfect show.
It's a great show. I like Mike Judge is just one of the best show creators ever. It's amazing. We're talking Office Space, Beavis and Butthead.
They're still gonna make more new Beavis and Butthead. Like
I just read that. That's crazy. You know, I didn't watch a lot of Beavis and Butthead because I was probably like maybe 3 when Beavis and Butthead was at its height. I've seen the movie, but I need to go back and rewatch that series. But I love King of the Hill. It's amazing.
King of the Hill is the fucking shit. Has there been any other crazy ass shows that you've been binging, or has it been more like, let me fucking like read? I've been trying to read. I realized I had not been fucking reading.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, I needed that.
I've been trying to read. I've been playing instruments and writing a lot of music, but I've been rewatching Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is a fantastic show. Come on.
It's probably the best. Just the best.
It really is. I mean, if we're talking comedy, it's got to be in the top 5 with, for me, The Office, Peep Show. I can't think of what else, but maybe 30 Rock. But anyway, I've been watching that, and I've been watching a lot of live music stuff on YouTube and DVDs, and really binging on like classic rock and prog documentaries and that type of shit. Lately, it's been just constant Erykah Badu live stuff.
Ooh.
Dude, Erykah Badu, she's only gotten better over time.
Oh
like
my
she's
God.
only gotten better.
She is a goddess, like, that is incarnated into this world. Like, I'm not even fucking kidding. That shit's fucking crazy. Her like Tiny Desk performance that like came out recently was just like
that's one thing I've been binging on. It's fucking, oh my God, she's performing those songs that she wrote in the 90s way better than she was even in the 90s, and that's how I think an artist should progress. I love the things she has going on. I've been watching a lot of like Emma Ruth Rundle live stuff, Marissa Nadler. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but just, I got really into Typo Negative in the quarantine. A band that I've never gotten into before. I just kind of
you're feeling the steel.
Yeah. And I've been watching a lot of Devin Townsend live shit, and then Joni Mitchell I've been binging hard on.
Oh hell yeah. I just got that record. Completely forgot what it's called. It's a live record that she had where fucking Jaco Pastorius was playing bass on it, and oh my God, that shit's fucking insane.
Yeah, that's when she went like super crazy out there jazz. She's fucking sick. She's just, I mean, her whole career has been amazing, and she's a really interesting lady, and she's a really good artist as well. So I've been like fucking going in on her and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and just kind of nerding out on music really hard, which
hell yeah,
always awesome. Pink Floyd. God, I've watched a lot of live shit over this great fuck, man. Not to name them all off, but yeah, I've just been really enjoying that. The art of the live show is amazing, and I like seeing the different production styles that some people have. A lot of classic rock and folky shit is a lot more stripped down, whereas, if you're dealing with a bit like Pink Floyd or David Gilmour's new shit, and then you're watching like super amazing production. So I'm really into that type of shit. Like, I want our production to evolve over time, as it already has. Like Entheos, we've brought out our own lights and had a MIDI controlled setup for quite a few years now, but I want to continue to evolve that, because that's something that's really important to me, and that I think will help set the mood of our band, is just keeping this stage show cool and interesting. And yeah, I really like that whole aspect of it. So it's almost like a study.
Yeah, y'all. Now that you're saying that, I'm just like, whoa, I totally subtly see those influences, how they fucking like came in at the Slay at Home festival performance you guys did. Because it was like this kind of like more raw, kind of just like stripped down, like we're fucking just going for this shit type performance. And holy shit, your vocal range, like, getting crazy, dude.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shit was fucking like just spine tingling. Like, you've been fucking putting in work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always practicing. Like, I do vocals every day. I'm like writing shit all the time. So that's my goal. The only thing I can really do is be better than myself. That's the only thing I can expect. And I've been really trying to improve my vocal range over the past couple of years, and working on singing a lot. And, Entheos hasn't put out, it's been almost 3 years since we've put out an album. So I'm really excited. We're getting like back, and we're writing. We've got like 18 minutes of material instrumentally written right now. So I'm excited to like put all of the tools that I've been putting in my toolbox. I'm excited to get them out and, you know, really put them all to work on an album. So thank you for noticing that my range is getting, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. But also, like, are you going to be providing any instrumental stuff in this as well? Because, like you're saying, you've been messing around on instruments a lot more now, and I feel like that that mixture is something that we haven't seen yet. It hasn't been like totally whipped out yet. So you fucking
Oh
ready to do
yeah.
some of that too?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if I will or not. I'm definitely, what I'm working on right now is just like getting together some solo type of stuff. I really want to put out a solo record at some point in my life. I don't know when it'll come out, but I've been writing riffs on and off for the past like probably 5 or 6 years that I've got on a hard drive. I've never like seriously taken the dive into guitar, but or drums really, but I've always played a bit of guitar and drums. So, you know, I want to put something out on my own. That's the goal. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I don't know if I'll ever write anything for Entheos. Naveen's doing an amazing job. I mean, I just can't wait to put out what we're writing right now, because it's like, you know, Naveen is writing everything on guitar now. He's always primarily been the songwriter, but this is the first time that he's going for it full fledged. And if anyone has heard of Flesh Rot, if you've heard of Flesh Rot, then I think he's proven he's fully capable of being the primary songwriter in a band. And his shit's amazing. I mean, and I've been listening to this 18-minute piece of material, and it's like, to me, it's mind blowing. I love listening to it. It's not necessarily like anything I've heard before, but it, you know, it's got influence, of course, but it's just like, I don't know. I'm really excited to work on it and to share it, because we've got a lot of ideas that aren't necessarily things we've done before, and it's exciting. You know, always excited to get that next shit out there. So
Hell yeah. And one of the most fucking exciting things I've seen recently was that fucking video where Naveen was playing the fucking guitars on the drums. That shit was insane.
I know, he's a maniac. He's a fucking total maniac.
Oh my god. And like the thing too, you could just like see him drumming and just being like, I'm fucking doing some new shit, like, and just like totally fucking jazzed in the middle of doing it. Like, I fucking watched that video way too many times. That shit's so badass.
I've watched it a lot too. It's
So
really
badass.
cool. Yeah. I want him to do more stuff like that. I would like to put out a playthrough for the single that we put out earlier this year, called Remember Your Dust. I want to put out a playthrough that's him on the instruments. I think that'd be fucking sick, but you know, it's all about making time for everything.
That song's fucking hard as fuck. Like,
Thank you.
goddamn. That
It was
song
just
fucking.
I'm glad you like it. It was just like a quick single that we wanted to put out. Because we wanted to like put out a just fucking DM song, you know? We've put out a lot of proggy stuff on our last album. It was like pure prog, I feel. A lot of metal, but not just like pure DM. So we're like, we were listening to a lot of Morbid Angel and wanted to do that. So yeah, it was just a fun one-off thing.
Dude, yeah, that shit was just catchy as fuck, and I get that riff stuck in my head all the goddamn time. And the lyrics too themselves, they're fucking badass, like just metal as fuck. Also, I don't know, it seemed like somewhat prophetic with everything that's going on these days.
So weird. It was strange timing.
A little creepy,
Yeah.
not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah, we decided to put that song out. We were actually going to put out a different song. We had tracked a song with Travis, our old guitar player at this point, and a bass player. And that's the song we were all geared up to put out. And last minute, we were kind of like, let's just write a metal banger and just put something else out. And so, yeah, we've got a lot of shit that I don't know if we'll ever end up releasing. Just because Naveen writes so much music that sometimes it's like he's writing something currently that we like more than the old shit. So we're like, let's just write out that idea, you know? There's just a lot of Entheos material that I don't know if ever will see the light of day.
Hey, at least you get to just sit there and be like, yeah, this shit's sick.
Yeah. Yes. In my studio by myself for 2 years.
Hell yeah.
I wish people could hear this.
No, but I'm super fucking excited for that new album. You know, I'm really excited at the prospect of that fucking solo album too. Like you said though, it's just when is the time gonna allow for things like that to happen? Because it's just a lot. Like, I mean, that's one of the things I love. I love you and Naveen's dynamic on the podcast because I fucking love those moments where he's just like, let's just fucking put something out.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally real, man. That's how we are. Naveen and I are like both people who like to change our minds a lot and do things on a whim. So we'll just be like, let's fucking put a song out. And we don't, you know, a lot of people will follow this like whole marketing, strategic marketing thing with the internet. And with Remember You Were Dust, we're like, fuck it, let's put it out. We're not going to be able to get it on Spotify for 2 weeks. Who fucking cares? We just want a song out. You know, we're like, sometimes we can be spur of the moment type people. So yeah, that's just how it goes. I guess the goal is to have like your manager wrangle that all in, or someone to wrangle it all in, right?
I mean, it seems like you do a pretty fucking good job. Like, you have a pretty deep understanding of the music industry in a way where I was just like, holy shit, that one podcast you did where you just like broke shit down. I was like, damn, like, did you go to fucking school or anything for this? Or is this just all like, you just...
The school of hard knocks, dude.
Well, there we go, yeah.
I mean, you know, I've been in the music, I've been doing this since I was 18. I'm 31. So you learn a lot of stuff. And I've been around a lot of people who are just easy to learn from. Not that I was ever out to learn from them, but you just pick shit up along the way. And I was really DIY when I was a kid. I burned CDs to pass out, and none of that shit has ever left me as a person, no matter if my band's signed to a label or not. I want to be involved in that in some form or the other. So you learn stuff along the way.
Hell yeah. Yeah, like I was saying before, just really excited to see where the music is going, and it really does seem like with the podcast there's kind of a mission in mind, with kind of like you were saying, just presenting the reality of this so that the culture kind of persists in a way where younger musicians aren't going to be able to have like all these misconceptions, and if they do like certain studying and digging in, they'll be able to come across your podcast and learn a lot. So I think it's really just like a dope service that you guys are doing with the podcast specifically, and yeah, I'm stoked for more to come.
Well, thank you. I am too. I mean, yeah, imagine being a kid right now with all these resources that are out there. I mean, there are a million videos on how to become a screamer now. When I was a kid, all we had was Melissa Cross, the Zen of Screaming. And it was a fabled videotape that no one really had ever seen, but we knew that like there were copies somewhere. So and that was the only person that any of us had ever heard of who was like a screaming teacher who could show you what to do really properly. So, I mean, there are just so many tools. That's the bright side of the internet, right? I was talking about all the evil sides earlier. It's like, on the other hand, we've got an amazing well of knowledge at our fingertips that just has never existed before, and it's it's amazing. It can be amazing, an amazing tool when used the right way for that purpose.
Yeah, it's an amazing tool, and it's crazy how like both of us as content creators are putting out these kind of like libraries in a way
Yeah.
of ourselves. It's really fucking weird. I mean, especially with like long form content like this, it really does provide just like kind of this time capsule into who you were, like what knowledge you can share, and like how you could express it at that time. It's fucking weird.
Oh, it's weird, but it's and sometimes I've like struggled with that a little bit, and wondered, am I putting like too much of myself on the internet? I mean, at this point, my podcast was like 31 episodes in, and every episode was an hour and a half at least. So we're talking like, I don't know, at least around 50 hours of me just talking on the internet, not to mention music and all of these other things, interviews that I've done for my band or whatever else. And so I've wondered, am I putting a little too much of myself on the internet? I don't know. But you're totally right. It's a spoken diary. None of us need to write in diaries anymore and have our kids find them underneath our mattress that we've been hiding, because they can just log onto YouTube and look up mom 2012. What was she doing then? You know, you can go to the MySpace page of your fucking mom and find something frozen in time. That's insane.
Yeah, at least as long as the electric grid is on, because I'm fucking terrified of that goddamn solar flare or whatever's gonna happen. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like low key. I'm not quite like doomsday prepper, and I'm not just like fully just like ill prepared, but I'm like somewhere in the middle there, and I feel like I keep on like tipping towards doomsday prepper as things keep going.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay calm.
Naveen is kind of like that. He got really into doomsday prepping for a minute, so we have a bunch of stuff, and then he built out our van. So our van is like a camper now, our tour van. So we kind of just have bug out here as a result of Naveen starting to acquire that type of shit. I mean, you got to be prepared in some way, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like for me, I don't like to watch any of these movies. Like there was a movie The Rock was in a few years ago that was
it was like
I think it was
like,
called the San Andreas
yeah.
Fault Line. Like, are you trying to scare the shit out of me? I live right next to that, and you know, it's just footage of the Golden Gate Bridge falling down, and I can't watch movies like that because it just scares the shit out of me, and then I feel like I need to be ready for something bad to happen.
Shania, she just binged watched this anime called Japan Sinks 2020.
Oh my god!
Fuck that shit.
Wait, when was it made?
It was made like 2020.
Oh, it was made this year.
I think it was made this year, or at least last year. I have no idea.
Jesus.
But it's basically just about this family that goes through Japan fucking sinking because of an earthquake, and it's yeah, that's all you really need to know. It's fucked. It's fucked. It's very violent, very graphic. Oh,
I mean, that's the universe for you, man. We think that all of this stuff is just going to be here constantly every day. We're going to wake up tomorrow and it's all going to exist. But like I said, I lived half a mile from the ocean. It's not really out of the realm of possibility that my whole block would just dissolve into the ocean or fall off into the ocean. Really. There was a terrible earthquake in Santa Cruz in '93, and like hella buildings were destroyed downtown. It's like bridges in Oakland came down. or maybe it was the 89. It was around that time, but it was a horrible earthquake, and I'm just waiting for the next. Now I'm looking out my window all paranoid, looking at the place next door to me is going to save me, but
we're officially stoned. Talking about fucking earthquakes, because
but I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Mother Nature is fucking crazy, right? And we wake up, we see hurricanes. New Orleans is fucking all under a layer of water. It's not, nothing is impossible. We live in California. If any fucking state breaks off into the ocean, it's going to be this one.
Or how about the fucking Yosemite caldera volcano? The continent killer. Yeah, there we go. We really want to just get fucking terrified.
Well, I'm closer
thank you,
to
Weed.
so I'm going
honestly, the paranoia, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You need it. You need it. This is a cataclysmic reality we live in. You can't fucking pretend that shit ain't happening.
I know, people always mark the paranoia part of weed as a bad thing. However, look at us right now. We're paranoid about all the right things. When I was like 16 and getting stoned, you know what I was paranoid about? My fucking mom finding out. So I would get home before my curfew. So I was a good kid. Like, the paranoia part of weed is you need it. Someone needs to be afraid that the cops are behind you when you're smoking in the car. And someone needs to be the person who's like, yo, stop smoking because there's a cop. We got to have one paranoid person on the crew. The weed thing, the paranoia is sometimes a good side effect. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, performance enhancing, so to say. Yeah, I'm not trying to be disassociated when I'm out, like just trying to get my groove on. I'm trying to be like heightened, be aware.
Yeah, right.
Which I didn't do when I was seeing Slipknot. I got blackout drunk, and raging. Hell yeah.
So what happened to you? What's the end of the story? Like,
I threw up on my friend's shoes. I had to fucking had to like basically crowd surf my way out so that I could fucking hop a fence and then like just sit in the seat because I was in the pit. And then I just kind of like watched Slipknot by the bathrooms because I kept on having to go and puke. But it was a fucking sick ass show. Dude, Gojira and Behemoth were there too. Like, I was fucking good.
Oh, dude.
I already had nothing, basically. I had nothing in my body. I had already moshed too hard.
One of the live videos that I was binging out on is a Gojira. It was either at Vakken or Hellfest, but holy fucking shit. It was at nighttime and the production was on point. There's me with the production. And the crowd was just like going in. It was life changing, and it was in my living room. I mean, this stuff isn't as good as seeing a live show, but honestly, where would I have been standing at that festival? Probably way further back than to even see anything close to what I saw on my television.
Exactly. So there's a crazy ass fucking UFC fight going down tonight that I'm very excited about, and I've seen a UFC fight live before. I couldn't see shit. Way better on
TV. What fight did you see in person?
I saw it was like one of the UFCs that was just on Fox. It wasn't like a pay-per-view, but I remember Lyoto Machida fucked somebody up, and there was some other really insane fight. But I'm really excited for the welterweight title fight
tonight. Who is fighting?
Jorge Masvidal and
motherfucking
Kamaru Usman. It's just gonna be some good old fashioned violence. Very excited. I see fighting. It's one of those things, and like self defense and stuff, martial arts. Like, of course, there's a lot of people who don't do it with the martial artsy state of mind, but those have always been like some of my heroes. I would fight my cousins if they would say that Bruce Lee sucks when I was a little kid.
Really?
Yes, it was it was a problem. They would do it on purpose, but it is
Well,
what it is.
yeah, there was, there is something incredibly like fascinating and about those people. Fighting, I don't like watching fighting, but I'm down for you watching UFC fights and shit. They're just they're such lethal humans, but they have to hold themselves back from acting on that primal thing all the time. Like, we're not talking about people who are going to snap if someone, or most of them, we're not talking about people who are going to snap if someone like calls them an asshole at a bar or bumps into them at a bar. They are incredibly well trained, but a part of that training is also knowing when not to use it. So it's fascinating, I think. And they're in some of the most insane shape ever.
Yeah, I'm definitely at a point where when I was growing up and being a fucking like shitty little teenager, there was a certain point where it's like, I don't want to like be aspirational towards people, like, oh fuck that. But as I got older, it's just no fucking that's just cool. Like if somebody's dope, they're doing some dope shit, like why not try and learn what you can by fucking observing what's going on? You don't want to get to a point where you're like hiding in their bushes, but it's cool to fucking be down with being a fan.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Hey man, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of some people. Erykah Badu.
Erykah Badu. I think that's just like pretty much the penultimate agreement right there. Erykah Badu is she's the fucking shit, man.
She really is. I feel like I mean, if there's a kid now who hasn't heard like Mama's Gun or Baduism, at least those two albums, those are must listens in life, I think.
I feel like she's pretty much just must see live at this point.
I haven't seen her live. I want to. We one of our sound guys is he did sound for us a few years ago. He's Erica's monitor guy. And I fucking just would not stop going in on him, like asking him.
Punish him.
You know what's cool that he told me though, which I'm sure that, if I would have paid attention, I would have known this, but the people who play in Erica's band, they have to be like real jammy musicians because she's constantly telling them to slow the tempo, speed up the tempo, stop here, play this part again. It's not like they're not always just getting through a song at the same tempo that they would always play it, and it's like she's almost God, what's the word I'm looking for?
Orchestrating.
A conductor, an orchestrator, conductor, which I thought was awesome. And I'm sure that there are a lot of artists who are doing that type of thing. But, being so connected to the metal world where that just isn't something that anyone does. It's cool to hear about that type of scenario. I think that'd be cool to do as a metal band as well.
Oh, yeah. Have you heard of the fucking Brain Tentacles?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, so they're like, as far as like metal and jazz fusion, that's like the dopest, most recent shit I've heard of. Fucking Brain Tentacles are awesome. But even that, there's honestly, from what I'm hearing, not a whole lot of just straight up fucking improv, which is
no.
I feel something that might be have to be a thing that y'all fucking start doing. Just get really fucking proggy. Goddamn.
I would love to do that. Okay, so The Dead, Grateful Dead is a band that I've been watching a lot of their live performances lately, and I always used to be the type of person who was like, the Grateful Dead are fucking terrible. I do not get into the music at all. This sucks. No matter how high I got. But after watching all of their live performances, now I sort of understand what the band is about, which is obviously being a jam band, but beyond that, the whole idea that they came up with about releasing every single live show so you can listen to all of their different tapes and all of their different performances. And it's like every night is a different thing. They're improvising this, or they're changing this part, or they're going from this song into a different song, and I really enjoy that thing because I think it's fun to not necessarily have a set list, a guaranteed set list that you're going to do every single night. And if someone's coming to 2-3 shows, they're going to see things mixed up. And obviously, as a musician, it makes things a little more interesting when you're doing it 30 nights in a row. I would really like to play like that if there was a way to figure that out. Like Naveen always used to talk about doing with Flesh Rot. He wanted to play like a medley live, which would be, I think, awesome to do, but it could be cool to also incorporate the jamming improv part of it too. It'd be cool to see a metal band do that. Is Brain Tentacles doing that live? Oh wait, your volume's off.
Oh,
oh, there you are. You're back.
I don't even know if Brain Tentacles is played live. I'm not sure. I haven't seen them live or anything, but they just sound badass. So
that's sick.
Yeah, check it out for damn.
Yeah, it's a name I've heard. I need to obviously dive into that. What else have you been listening to lately?
I have been listening to. I was really fucking just digging that new fucking Spirit Box single that came out.
Sick.
What's the name of it again? I don't remember. Holy Roller. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That
cool.
song was fucking sick as shit. I've been listening to some Erykah Badu on vinyl. Actually, we got Baduism, and that shit's fucking sick as fuck.
Yeah.
Listen to the new Run the Jewels. That was pretty damn good. We've honestly been watching a lot of fucking Adventure Time. And we watched all of Avatar The Last Airbender because I had never seen that in its entirety. And
I've never seen that in its entirety either. I've seen like one-off episodes.
Exactly. So, okay. When you see it in chronological order, holy shit. Way too good. Way too good.
Really?
It's so good. It's a perfect little fucking like action cartoon. It's, it's not too violent or anything, so it's nice and like light in tone enough, but still there's a lot of serious stuff going on. It was a good little palate cleanser.
That's sick. I want to watch that. Adventure Time, I've never really gotten into, but years ago, do you remember when like Craigslist rideshare was all the hype? Maybe it still is, but Naveen and I got a rideshare from LA up to San Francisco, and the guy who was giving the rideshare just so happened to be the little kid from Adventure Time. I don't know his name. I think it's Jake. Finn. Okay. The kid who does the voice of Finn, his brother was the guy giving us the ride.
That's hilarious.
And so his brother was also trying to be famous, I believe, and he like was in a boy band. And the whole way up, this motherfucker played his boy band the entire ride.
Just punished you guys.
He punished us with his band. Hey man, I hope that his band has made it. Hope they're doing well. But fuck, man, it was a strenuous ride.
Hey.
So I've always been a little hesitant to start Adventure Time.
Hey, that's his brother, man.
True.
He's probably crazy too. Like, who doesn't become crazy when they're a fucking child star, though? Let's be honest.
I know. Also, just being in Hollywood or like around that thing can kind of make people a little crazy too. If you're in the machine. Yeah. So it's a conglomeration of the two, I think.
Yeah, it seems like people either just thrive or they just get fucking used up. And
yeah,
that shit's rough.
I know.
But hey, it provides a lot of sick ass entertainment.
It does.
So I just sit there and I thrive off of the sacrifices, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, man, I've been liking. There have been a lot of movies that kids have starred in lately that or I guess Stranger Things isn't a movie, but primarily a cast of kids. I always used to think that kid actors sucked, and it would just like I wouldn't, except for maybe Macaulay Culkin. I didn't really want to watch stuff with child actors in it, but the Stranger Things kids are great actors. The kids who are in it, really good actors. Kids are kind of like I'm becoming hip to kids in acting roles.
Dude, I honestly wasn't able to continue watching it after they fucking bit off that little kid's arm. I was like, gross. I don't like horror movies. They legit scare the fuck out of me. I'm down to listen to some Cannibal Corpse though.
Oh yeah, Cannibal.
But yeah,
I like I've come to like really enjoy horror movies. I used to be the same. They scared the shit out of me. Now I've probably seen I've seen a large portion of what the horror genre has to offer, and I'm down. I'm a little desensitized to all the blood and guts. I've seen like some pretty fucked up shit be simulated on screen, and I enjoy it. The only movie that has really affected me recently is that movie Us.
yeah.
Because Us happens in Santa Cruz, where I live. So the little boardwalk place that all of those people are coming out of is 2 miles away from my fucking house. And I was like, these motherfuckers. Santa Cruz is only highlighted in scary movies, although Lost Boys isn't really scary. Lost Boys is completely set in Santa Cruz. And then Us. So it's like I get a little scared when I see movies about the place that I live, but so far all of them have taken place at the boardwalk. So, if I stay away from there, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. Us was fucking dope though. That was a dope ass movie. I saw that. I did see that. I didn't want to go see it though. I got dragged there.
Yeah.
And I was definitely scared. I'm not gonna lie, fucking like close my eyes type shit, like fuck.
And that wasn't even that bad. It's like
it really wasn't. It really wasn't.
No,
it was just
it wasn't gory at all.
No, but it's still jump scary though. Jump scares fuck me. Don't like them.
I know. When the family is first there, holding hands at the foot of the driveway, that part scares the shit out of me. When you can only see the shadows of them. What's the other? Oh, the name of the other movie he made is Get Out, right?
Get Out, yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah, that was a really good movie. A little more predictable, I thought, than Us. I preferred
Yeah,
Us.
definitely. I mean, Us just kind of like took it to a point where I was just like, I don't even fucking know what's going on anymore. Like, are these like some interdimensional like demon things? Like, it was cool.
Yeah, I know. It was cool. It was a cool theory. But yeah, I also don't really get. I don't know. Maybe there will be a part 2, and they can explain what the other people were, the other side.
Yeah, and then especially like Stranger Things just came out too, and it's got the underneath and stuff too. It's they're cool, but I'm still just kind of like I feel like it's a little bit of a cop out because it's just like ooh, this mysterious thing.
Yeah, it's the other place.
Yeah, I like give me some physics. Give me like even pretend like give me a little something.
Yeah, you need some factual evidence that this could happen. There's no suspension of disbelief for you in watching. You're like, it's like that lady that's a meme, that algebraic meme equation. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like, that's
exactly that.
That's you.
But then I like fucking pro wrestling, so I totally suspend my disbelief in every situation. So there's no reasoning going on here.
What the fuck? Yeah. My dad was really into wrestling, and I mean I know some shit about it. Just by default because I had to be in the room watching it, but it's not my favorite thing.
Yeah,
No offense to anyone out there.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's such a it's a really inherently stupid thing, but so awesome. So glad
Yeah.
they do that.
I mean, I just found out like a few weeks ago that now Stephanie McMahon is married to Triple H.
Oh yeah, that's been
What
going
the
on
fuck?
for a long time. So yeah, they're continuing the legacy basically. That's where the dynasty is going to continue. But Vince McMahon is a living maniac, and I don't know
Yeah.
when he's going to die. He's like in his
Everyone's
80s.
just waiting at this point, right? It's like, fuck, when's this guy leaving? Like,
It's crazy, but yeah. The thing to do is go watch like live independent wrestling, because it's like the kind of the smaller leagues where people are just doing insane things to get noticed, and it's pretty rad.
yeah, I heard there's a really good one in Oakland. That there's a really sick Oakland wrestling league.
I think you're talking about Hood Slam.
Yeah, I am. You're right.
Hood Slam. So Hood Slam, I've never been there, but supposedly it's dope as fuck. It's the main kind of like catchphrase is "Don't bring your fucking kids," because people just like rage and party and like smoke hella weed and get nice and twisted while watching some crazy ass wrestling.
Damn, that's sick. I should go to that.
Yeah, you should go. And there's like really ridiculous characters, and yeah, just a good time.
So, are they
it's like it's tongue in cheek, but they still do some like stuff where you're like, what the fuck? Why'd you do that to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, wrestling people are still getting hurt. It's still like real. I know they want to pass it off as being fake, but fake isn't the right word because they're getting hurt.
That's why so many of them just die very young. You can't do stuff like that to yourself and not have consequences.
Dude, no shit. I mean, CTE. 100 years from now, they're going to be talking about CTE a lot more than they are now. I know that like Joe Rogan talks about it all the time, but so people are starting to get hip, but it's definitely a problem in more places than football. And people love themselves.
I got me some CTE at a couple Dillinger shows, probably.
Yeah.
Fucking fun though. I don't know. I know that there's supposedly some type of gene that you can have to make it to where it's not that bad. And my dad, he grew up playing football, and he talks about how he's like, "Oh yeah, I used to love seeing stars." And I'm just like, "So you mean you love like concussions?" Jesus Christ! But he's fairly okay.
Okay.
He's not so I feel like I'll probably gonna be okay. But shit.
Yeah. Well, you didn't play football. No joke. Did you play football? You didn't
I did play high school football. It was.
Oh fuck yeah.
It was pretty stupid. And I played on the defensive line too, so that's just like constant collisions. But I only did it for 2 years.
Oh, okay. Not as bad as it.
Hopefully not that bad, yeah.
See, I struggle about that with myself. Like, if I wouldn't necessarily, if I had kids, want them to go into football. However, on the other hand, I don't want to deny my kid of doing something that they want to do. And how can you properly convey to a kid, like, look, man, this is what could happen to you? I'm sure, I mean, kids are really smart. You probably actually could really easily convey that to them.
I've definitely told my nephews and stuff like, yo, like if you ain't about it, no point really, because I don't think if you really want to fucking like go for it and try and like make it a career, it doesn't seem like it's really worth it.
Dude, no, those guys they don't last very long in the NFL. You're not making it past 40. Maybe 40. I don't know. We're not going past 50. That's for sure.
It's very rare.
Yeah. I mean, I saw my grandpa like that. My grandpa didn't play football, but he was just a really active guy. He raced sprint cars. Like, he was sick at racing sprint cars, and he worked out, lifted weights, and did all of that shit when he was young. But when he was old, it's like he had trouble walking around because he had to have his knee replaced. And just like, when you do a bunch of crazy shit to your body when you're young, man, you're paying for it a lot of the time when you're old.
Yeah, and I mean, some of those fucking shows get pretty rowdy, so you out here just wilding too.
It's true. I worry about my neck. Like, it, without fail, the first, second show of every tour, I have severe whiplash to the point that it's like I can't move my neck at all. And I feel like I've built up muscle. Like, sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, fuck, I look more like George Fisher every day, corpse grinder every day. Fuck. But,
yeah.
you know, so I genuinely worry about my neck. Like, I feel like that's something that I might have to calm down on. But I've always been like a real physical person on stage. So it's hard to just turn that knob down. But I guess you have to as you get older, man. It's, you gotta settle down sometime.
Oh my god, I've gotten to the point where I'm doing like, you know, you have to like headbang from the fucking like hip more.
Yeah. That's like the European power metal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You get a little workout in too. I'm taking myself to that.
Yeah, you have to. And you know, sometimes people get all bummed because they're like, man, this band doesn't move around as much as they used to. And it's like, yeah, because we're all fucking old, dude. You want to be able to play music at all? Jeez.
For reals. Oh yeah, this shit is real. These sacrifices are real.
Yeah. That's got to be a hardcore lyric. Some band.
Oh, I'm sure there's like 20.
Yeah. It's probably the name of a band. These sacrifices are real.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna fucking tattoo that on my neck now. I was debating on getting a neck tattoo, but I was like, no, yeah, you have to really commit to getting a lot of fucking tattoos to have a neck tattoo.
Oh man, you better be like at least a sleeve and a leg sleeve deep before you get a neck tattoo. Yeah. Even then, you need maybe both of your sleeves done, and maybe
mandatory.
Like a shaved part of your head where it's like a tattoo under your hair before you do a neck. Exactly. I don't think a neck is something I'm ever gonna like. I love tattoos and I'm gonna have a lot more than I have now, but I don't think I'll ever do neck or chest piece.
Yeah. Plus fucking tattoos are a lot of goddamn money. Like,
I know.
To get them done well too, it's like, fuck. I wish I knew just a really sick ass, really kind hearted tattoo artist that would just tattoo me for free. My life awesome.
I mean, don't we all, man? Yeah. Tattoos are very expensive. They're worth it for sure. But you know, the tattoo that I get complimented on the most, probably just because it's a famous painting, I have Starry Night tattooed on me, but I only paid $90 for it. It's my cheapest tattoo because I knew the person who was doing it. So you can find the deals.
You gotta finagle here and there. We have to.
So if anyone out there is a good black work artist, I'm trying to be your friend.
Let's be homies.
Get at me. I feel like we could, find something we have in common to talk about.
There we go. And that's one of the best things too. You get to have a true relationship with your tattoo artist. You're sitting there and like, unless you're just going to be really awky and not talk to them the entire time.
Oh, that's so weird.
It's a good opportunity to know somebody, and most artists, we be into some pretty existentially stuff. So
yeah,
I've always had like super deep conversations when I'm getting a tattoo.
Yeah. I have depending on the person. Well, I have depending on the length of time that my tattoo takes.
True.
Book, especially. Yeah. This is making me crave getting a tattoo. I follow some artists who I would really
Oh,
like.
that's a problem.
Yeah,
Following tattoo artists on Instagram is a problem.
I know.
It's no. I don't like doing that. I do it, but I don't like that I do it because
Neither do I.
it's always
It's,
just fuck.
I know.
I want to get something.
I follow this really insane black work artist named Rox, who used to work at a shop in the Bay, but they do, it's just like full pieces. So if you schedule an appointment, you have to get, it's got to take like a full day, a full 2 days. So every piece they post is just like this amazing, crazy, most perfect black work tattoo that's spanning a person's entire body, and it always makes me crave just getting a tattoo. But fuck, man, I wish I had like $1 million.
I was thinking of getting a tattoo from the clan that I'm from, for my tribe. We're the Coyote clan, and our like little tattoo that we used to have was just like 2 lines down like this. And I'm just like, man, I don't know. It's intense.
That's really intense. Coyotes, fascinating creatures. What I don't like about coyotes is they're eating everyone's cats all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's just killing cats. However, coyotes are like.
Hey, cats kill like everything else though. So.
I know. Cats are.
We're talking about karma.
Yeah, we truly are. But hey, man, coyotes are just like really fascinating to watch. There are so many in Santa Cruz. They're out all the time, and I was picking someone up a few weeks ago, and she was standing out in front of her house in like a residential neighborhood, and there were 2 dogs behind her. And at first I didn't think it was my friend because I thought it was just a woman out walking her dogs. They were that close to her. But as I got closer, it was dark. I realized there were just 2 coyotes fucking hanging out a few feet away from her, not doing anything to the human. They're really like, they know what they're after. Like they're very cunning and sneaky. And I've heard of coyotes luring dogs away from the yard. Like they're just really, really smart.
They will legitimately play with the dog for a few days, like be like, "Oh yeah, I'm your friend," and be like, "Hey, you want to come over to my house?" LOL, JK, your lunch. Yeah, coyotes are gnarly.
Yeah.
I actually had a dog that I'm pretty sure was part coyote, because dogs and coyotes, they'll, especially on reservations, they'll totally just have kids. Because I mean, there's basically just kind of like wild dogs that will end up just being out there, and they just mix and breed a lot, and then sometimes they'll get with the coyote, and I'm pretty sure like my childhood dog was very likely part coyote because she remained like totally skittish, and she had this really long snout the older she got. So
wow, she probably was.
yeah, and there's coyote wolf hybrids too. Yeah, I'm totally into
coyotes too. So did you grow up on a reservation?
Yeah.
And where, I think I've asked you this before, but where is it located?
So it's in the city called Banning. I grew up on the Morongo Reservation, and yeah, that was pretty cool.
So you lived there until you were how old?
Until I was 18.
And then there's a choice: you stay on the reservation and hang out there and live there forever. You can't.
I mean, yeah. So pretty much, if you can choose to live there. You don't have to live there for your entire life. I eventually plan on moving back though. There's coyote wolf hybrids. So coyotes, they be, one of the things that's pretty crazy about coyotes is they started off on the West Coast, and they are now in every fucking state in the country, because when you kill them, they do a roll call every night. When they're like howling and stuff, that's basically their roll call. They're like, oh, everybody here? And then if there's any coyotes that are missing, it'll literally trigger an effect in pregnant females where they'll have like a bigger litter of pups. So they kind of like regulate the population like that, and they've totally like pretty much survived like an intended genocide on them, because once colonization happened, a lot of coyotes were getting killed, but they just fucking spread. So they're a really gnarly creature.
That's insane. It also explains why, I mean, there is like an insane population of coyotes around where I live. It's crazy. Like we were at a state park on Mother's Day where there's a train, like a cool little kids train type thing that's big that you can ride on. And we were right by the train, and they shot off the steam horn of the train, and a whole pack of coyotes, what sounded like was 200 feet from us, but it was a little in the mountains. It was probably a half mile away. An entire pack of what sounded like 1,000 coyotes just erupted in howling. It was fucking crazy in the middle of the day. I've never experienced anything like that, but it's like they're all over. I see them down the street from my house. Like I said, I saw them the other day. There's a huge problem with them killing cats in Santa Cruz, but Santa Cruz is unique in that it's sandwiched right between the mountains and a huge chunk of the redwood forest in the ocean. So it's like all of these coyotes are coming out from the redwoods, and where else do they have to go but in the residential neighborhoods that are right next to the ocean, and small patches of forest that are around the town. No one's doing it. No one in California wants to kill coyotes, though. It's illegal. So
I think that's because the populations normally only get bigger if we do that. So they're pretty much just like, yo, this is our land.
It really is. I mean, dude, they're trotting down the fucking road. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
but that's for you because you're a coyote. So
I'm a coyote, baby. Yeah. Coyote clan for life.
Well, so you were telling me about the reservation. So you can stay there forever. You want to move back, though.
Yeah, because like I was saying, we were talking about before, communal living is something that's just really dope. And being on a small place like that and raising a family in a scenario like that, I feel would really be way healthier than a lot of cities. Now, the reservation definitely has problems. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of substance abuse and stuff. But it's one of those things where I feel like there's, and this might be like a little bit cult like thinking in my head, but I feel like you can, through good intentions and kind of like bringing back some of our ritualistic ways, I feel like things could definitely get a lot better. So it's one of those things where it's pretty cool because it's like I have a physical place to kind of put a lot of effort into and a lot of like intention to. So yeah, I'm definitely appreciative of growing up on a reservation, even though like if you kind of think about what they are historically, they're kind of like pseudo concentration camps in a way.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a pretty weird relationship with it, especially when you're looking at it from a historical context. But
well, is that a thing? Like, are Native American people constantly struggling with that fact?
I'd say yeah. It's to a point where I feel like a lot of people on reservations develop this kind of like gallows humor a little bit, where it's just like, yeah, things are kind of fucked up, so you kind of like laugh stuff off to, because if you don't, it's just gonna be like, man, this is fucking sad.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, of course. At the same time, though, that type of stuff, just like anything else in life, is cyclical. And if continue to think that without any real change happening in the community, then it's just going to keep going and keep going, being passed on from generation to generation. So all that it takes really is someone doing what you are saying, which is trying to integrate anything that they see as being good back into the community. Because I mean, that stuff exists everywhere, whether you live on a reservation or not. You know, everyone's struggling in some way. Fucking drug addiction is rampant in this country. Like, there's no, in my opinion, denying that. The opioid crisis is insane. I work uh, in home care, so I've experienced it firsthand, and it's something that like I can feel myself like becoming angry just talking about it, because I think that it's, especially in my experience in working with the state of California, it becomes overlooked when um, you're dealing with disabled people or the elderly. If people are stealing from them who are hired by the state, it becomes overlooked because in this field, the clientele, the people who are doing the hiring and the firing, are the disabled people. And it's not always people who I feel are really capable of being honest employers, in the way that they're almost, they become like pushovers. They just want someone to work for them, and they're down to be nice to anyone. And some people who work in that field are predators, and they get into it just to steal pills from people or to steal OxyContin, liquid OxyContin, whatever else. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that I've seen it firsthand, and it enrages me. So like these problems exist everywhere, and it's like everyone is dealing with these struggles. Everyone is dealing with, you know, being a part of, maybe you're a part of a cycle, and your mom has told you something, and now you have kids and you're telling your kids the same thing, and it's defeating, and you don't realize that it's a negative mantra that you're telling yourself every day, but you continue to say it. The only way to, and just about like earlier when I was saying that, you know, if people are negative, you see them continuing to be negative forever. All it takes is fucking one wrench in that tire, that wheel, and you can flip the whole thing around. You, by having that mindset, can spread your mindset to one more person, and then that person spreads it. And that's all it takes, man. That's all it takes to build a new community, or to that's what being the change you want to see in the world is, to me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really important for everybody to look at their community and the community's issues as their issues in a way. And it's not like you have to do everything you can to make sure you're solving these issues for people, but I really do think just coming together and at least talking about the issues that we have in our communities, and being honest about how they've fucked with us as far as cyclically, and recognize like, okay, it's time to break the cycle, and let's do some better, doper stuff.
Yeah,
and
totally.
and it seems like with y'all like kind of having building the compound up a bit, that's kind of a personal way of like making sure that those circles that you have are able to nourish you as best as you possibly can. Like, I really do think all of us are extensions of those circles that we connect to the most, and the more we make like really dope bonds with those circles, and just enjoy each other's company and learn from each other, the better our communities will be in a really good way. So
I totally, we're of the same mind on that one. That's for sure.
heck yeah. So I have no idea how long we've been going, but it's probably
Me,
we'll probably just keep on spiraling into more fucking fragments, and I feel like this conversation's been rather fractal,
yeah,
but
definitely.
that's that's kind of what we're talking about before. Everything kind of can root off, but it's because everything's connected in
That's
in a
look.
deep way.
That's what's up. That's what's
So
up.
there we go. We're good
Oh,
to go. Well, thanks a lot, Chaney. We're definitely looking forward to more fucking KoperCrabb and that fucking new album, and eventually also the solo material.
yeah. I'm also working on another band right now that I didn't talk about, but look out for that as well. Yeah.
There we go. We got the sneak peek. Heck yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah, great talking to you as always, man. Thank you for having me. This has been
for
fun
sure.
and
Heck
inspiring.
yeah.
Hopefully
Yeah,
it made
exactly. Those are.
for some good listening for us
There
at
we go.
least.
Exactly.
Great conversation. All right, man.
Peace.